I felt this way for about 10 years, so I'm with you. I'm with you.
Well, then this is getting
So-
Taika Waititi in a history book, bro.
Joe,
She's
Rad-
with you, bro. Like she came because you sent her an email an hour ago.
I love this movie. I love the fuck out of this movie. When Max was like, "Let's talk about this movie," I was like, "Hell yeah!" I've been bugging Max about this movie for years.
This is not part of the commercial. Is some jerk making your life miserable? You want revenge? Call 555-01.
We're going to start with some rapid fire takes that we have. Just stuff to get the conversation rolling. Each of us have prepared two, maybe divisive statements on this film. And I'm going to get started with mine, if you don't mind, if no one has any objection. I do believe very much so that Ben Affleck is the GOAT Batman.
Do you think that Ben Affleck directed Ben Affleck Batman movie would have been better than what we got in Matt Reeves's and Robert Pattinson's The Batman?
I think it's a really interesting question because I do believe that Ben Affleck is better at writing for himself than any writer there is. Anytime he's in his own thing, for some reason, maybe it's just he casts himself well or whatever it is. I think it could have been really, really dope. And obviously, we're not talking about the Batman today. I'm not the biggest fan of the Batman.
And that's where you're bugging. And that's where you're bugging.
And I, therefore, of course, I would believe that the Ben Affleck one would be better no matter what type shit because I don't really like that one that much. But I think even given how y'all feel about the Matt Reeves one, I think his would have been better. But do you agree with the take though, or you disagree with the take?
Do we count Will Arnett?
Yeah, I did. I said live action, kind of, but also like we could count him, and I still think it's true.
I think there's a serious argument for it. I can't do that. I can't do it. No.
Yeah.
No.
Even just live action though?
No, not live action. Bale gets it. I know the voice is ass, but you have to. You can't like sit on that. Like you have to like give credit to what he does. Like as Wayne as a character. I'm not gonna sugarcoat my feelings on Zack Snyder's writing. I think he's worse at it than Christopher Nolan.
Sure.
And I think for that reason, I would always give Bale the edge over Batfleck, and the voice sucks in Bale's version, but whatever.
If you asked me this question about a week ago, I would have said no because I love how weird Robert Pattinson is in that movie. He, when you think about the character of Batman, and you look at like what he is, what he's gone through, what he does. If you put that guy in a real environment, he'd be really weird. He would not be a good hang. And that Robert Pattinson version of the character, to me, is the epitome of that. And it was something that was so fresh at the time, I think. And that would have been my favorite Batman until this rewatch.
Damn.
So I've got three. I've got a 75% if we're counting myself.
Yeah,
I felt this way for about 10 years, so I'm with you. I'm with you. Kind of on Stanley's point, I agree with you. I feel like we didn't totally get to see enough of him to where like it's like Bale we got 3 movies, but yeah, if we got that Ben Affleck Batman movie and he was writing Batman for himself,
I
That shit would've
agree.
been so
I agree.
good. It would've
But
been so
I
good.
can't give him that off of. What
no,
he does
I
in
agree.
BvS.
I hate the like potential man arguments, if y'all know what I'm talking about.
I think even just like there are scenes here, and again he's saying Snyder dialogue, bro. Like he is speaking Snyder dialogue, and still I'm like, bro, like feels the aura.
I think he's got the best Batman suit in live
It's a
action.
good suit.
I mean,
It's a great suit.
It's a great suit.
Yeah.
I'll give him
Also,
that.
there's no padding in that suit. He got
He's
that big for this movie. He's huge.
Let's talk about that, bro.
Unbelievably.
Because he's like really the only live action Batman, in my opinion, that you really would be scared of if you saw him
Yes.
coming down a dark
Absolutely.
alley just based off the silhouette. You're like, what? That's not even a real guy. That dude is huge.
I don't know. Can you win a hot take? I do think I just won though.
I think you
You
did
won. I think
technically
I
win
won.
the hot take.
All
Yeah.
right, let's see if Stan can win off his one.
My take is that they set up Justice League very well. In fact, as well as they could have in a movie like this.
I think that they did set them up well. Actually, no, I agree with you. I'm not even gonna, give an asterisk to that. I
Yeah.
think they did do it pretty well. Yeah.
I like the scene where they go through all of the folders.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
shit.
It's not that bad. It's not stupid.
It's a
It's
really
not
cool
stupid.
scene.
I'm glad. Yeah, this was like one thing people love to complain about with this movie is like, like I don't know what people want, like some kind of like Ocean's 11. I'm putting together a team. Like they kind of do that in Justice League, anyways. In like both cuts of that movie where Batman and Wonder Woman are going around being like, "Hey, come on to the team." I don't know, because like, yeah, I feel like the alternative to the email thing or whatever is like they all show up at the end, which would have been infinitely worse. Like they're fighting Doomsday and Aquaman. I think originally Aquaman was supposed to be there, like because Lois Lane drowns. It was, at one point it was going to be Aquaman who saved her.
What
Lane.
I felt
fuck?
would have
Lane.
sucked.
That would've
Yes,
been
I
so
agree.
dumb.
Think about the moment in this movie where they go, "Is she with you? I thought she was with you."
Okay.
Yeah,
That-
I thought he was with you. I thought he was with you. Yeah, like,
Don't you
That's-
dare defend that moment, bro.
That's the dumbest line in the movie because
Thank you.
for the entire movie, Batman is talking to Wonder Woman, and she's with you, bro. Like she came because you sent her an email an hour ago.
I like the line, guys. I like
I was
it.
gonna
I think
say,
it's funny.
counterpoint. It's really fucking funny.
It's
is.
so funny,
It's
bro.
really fucking funny.
It's like the only time where I think it just breaks. Like it
How
breaks Cavill.
self-serious,
Like it just
yeah.
like his version of Superman is just like fucked now. I don't know why. Like his response is just it just killed me. It was actually hilarious. I really liked the break in who he was because his whole movie's been taking himself so serious. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm Jesus Christ. What do I do?
This is a take that I feel very strongly about. Okay? And this is also, again, not something I would have said a week ago. If this was labeled as a DC Black Label film, for context, DC has this thing called DC Black Label that they use for the comics to denote a story that's going to be like a one-off that's usually a little darker and weirder and stuff that they're not going to put in the mainline stuff.
There's one that it's a dark label, and it's just because Batman's dick is in it.
There you
Can I
go.
find
Just a
that?
little fun comic. Book.
Where do they sell that?
Yeah.
Let me just say, bats aren't the only thing hung in that cave. But continue.
Nice.
All right, we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
We're done?
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
done?
yeah.
Thank y'all for listening.
This has been the Sneaking of the Movies
Video's been
Miserable
sponsored by
Podcast.
Raycon.
So, yes, if this was labeled as a DC Black Label film, and they made traditional Batman and Superman movies concurrently alongside these Zack Snyder movies, we'd be talking about Zack Snyder's tenure at DC as a huge critical and financial success. The solo films would be coming out during, so it would be like Batman versus Superman and then like a James Gunn Superman type movie the next year.
I feel like the people that want to watch DC, especially in that time, wanted dark. And if you fed them anything that wasn't dark and had Batman in it, they would have lost their mind. So, yeah, dude. I feel like Zack Snyder had respect.
The reason I say they should have labeled it as a DC, like something else, and like made like kind of more like traditional Superman and Batman, like stuff that we're used to, like, Norman put it earlier as like the saving squirrels out of trees or cats out of trees and, saving the squirrel and that kind of thing.
So-
Go for it, Norman.
We've gotten that now, and it made less money than Man of Steel. So what do people really want? We got
But
Superman
that's
with the trunks.
also
We got
just
Superman.
like that's just a year's like what era of Hollywood we're in kind of thing.
No, I like agree, but
But I would agree with you that I think acting like there is one interpretation of a character that like the masses want is like you are in a bubble, bro. Most people
Yeah.
are not thinking about the correct way to do a comic book character. They don't give a fuck.
most
They just wanna
people who
see
see
a
these
cool
movies
movie.
don't read comic books
Yeah.
either.
The statement basically posits that the whole entire problem with these Zack Snyder movies in the entire tenure was a communication issue rather than the actual movies. So if you believe that if they had communicated that these are not your quote-unquote normal Batman and Superman, could this have been successful?
I think I'm going to have to disagree with you on this take. I don't think it was a communication issue like we've talked about. Man of Steel did well. BvS did well. I think this is a pussyfooting studio issue to where we'll probably talk about it a little bit later. They butchered the shit out of Justice League. I think if Snyder got to do what he wanted to do, obviously, it wouldn't have been 4 hours. It wouldn't have been what we got on HBO Max.
Yes.
Years later. I think that movie would have done well. And I think we probably would have got his 3 that he wanted. The critical thing, like these movies were big critical bombs. Who cares? They're superhero movies. I don't know. Like you don't go to these. Are there really people who are like, I'm gonna go see the new Ant-Man movie? Oh, it's got a 46 on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, if you want to see a movie with Ant-Man in it, you're gonna watch it regardless of whoever thinks of it. You know what I mean?
To an extent, yes. There's definitely movies that it, tanked in the past, but I definitely see where you're coming from.
But like
that.
Suicide Squad, the original one, that movie made like $750 million or something crazy like that.
That's true. We were in.
They had the best trailer of all time.
It did have the best trailer of all time. But yeah, I don't know. I think this kind of was at least not critical, but this kind of was a big success. Like DC didn't start not making money on movies till after these movies. It was like these came out, Wonder Woman came out, Aquaman came out, and then they were like, "Oh fuck, we need to change everything because Batman vs Superman didn't get a good run to me."
Well,
and then they made Shazam, and then they made like all these movies that no one liked and no one saw. So,
did Aquaman? Aquaman came out after Justice League, though. I forgot about that.
It did. It made $1 billion.
It made $1 billion.
$1 billion.
Yeah.
That movie did not deserve to make $1 billion. Nobody would give a fuck. Nobody would watch that movie today. We were just in like a moment where everybody was so hyped. It's honestly more of an accomplishment that they fucked up so bad that people didn't want to watch a Justice League movie. Like, can you believe that, bro? Like, it was kind of impossible for DC to fail, and then somehow they did. So I think if they just marketed things just slightly differently, I'm open to the take. I'm not 100% either way, but I do think it's totally possible.
Couldn't tell by already, listeners. I really like this movie. Matter of fact, there hasn't been, and I put live action here, but I've thought about it. There hasn't been a superhero movie as good as this since it came out.
Good lord, bro. No way.
I'm a freak, bro. I'm a Raimi guy. I'm a Snyder guy, like superhero wise. I like the gun stuff. I like the Guardians movies. I like Superman. But I love this movie. I love the fuck out of this movie. When Max was like, let's talk about this movie, I was like, hell yeah. I've been bugging Max about this movie 4 years, and I was so vindicated when I got a text at 1 a.m. the other day that said, holy shit, this rocks.
Real text I sent.
I'll link in the end,
that may be true, and parts of this movie kind of rock, but this is not even close.
Wait, dude. I'll give you this. When the movie started, me and Veer were watching it, and I kept, for like the first hour, I kept going, whoa,
yeah,
whoa, is this good? Is this like
why
really,
do we
really
hate
good?
it? We kept asking
was I
ourselves.
just dumb and 10 and just like followed whatever people on the internet told me to follow? And for the first hour, that was absolutely the answer. Dude, there's this thing called the third act of BvS that would beg to differ.
Third act bangs,
God,
man.
bro.
Third act bangs. First, second, and third act.
Oh my lord.
I had a rocky relationship with this movie for like a couple months when it came out. You know, I was like, what the fuck? And then it just kept sticking in my brain. And then by the time we got the ultimate cut, I was like, they don't get it. Our kids are going to get it, you know?
You know, on that point, this is not what we're talking about, but I was thinking, like, in like 20 years, is anyone ever going to watch like Man of Steel or BvS like ever again? It just feels like so, like it wouldn't click for you. You know what I'm saying?
It's a question that's definitely worth asking, and I think not just like from on a broad level, just because of the, you know, all of the drama surrounding these movies and the fact that they were not very well liked theatrically. The whole problem with these movies is that there's 3-hour and 4-hour cuts of them that are fucking amazing, and then people, nobody sees them.
Yeah, you sound like a dickhead trying to tell someone like, oh no, don't watch the cut that's on the Blu-ray. You gotta go watch the 3-hour one. It's 20 more minutes and it just wraps everything together. But it's true. But I also ask you, are people gonna watch Thor Ragnarok 10 years from now?
Mm.
I
Are
don't
people
think
gonna
so.
watch?
Yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp 10 years from
The
now.
thing that's like
No.
really tricky about the MCU is that there's a run there when they were most popular where you kind of have to watch so many movies. Like you can't just go back and watch Avengers like 1 through 4. Although like you might want to, like that would be dope, but you can't. So I think a lot of these will not age that well because you got to go watch Civil War and Homecoming, and it's like I don't care. I want to watch the Avengers have fun, you know, and you
Another
can't really
thing
do that.
is, the MCU did something that DC didn't, and it's okay, but it is going to change the way that the movies are looked upon later. DC, when they wanted to get a new franchise off the ground, they went and they found who was popping in the underground. Like, they went and they got fucking, what's his name that did Shazam? David Sandberg?
Yeah, David F. Sandberg. Yeah.
They
James
got him
Wan.
on
They got James
YouTube.
Wan for
James
Aquaman,
Wan.
of course. Patty
They-
Jenkins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They went and they got them, and it produced good products. I'll never deny that. But in 20, 30 years, and we're looking at who are the best directors of this era of time. Oh, I know Taika. I know Coogler.
Yeah.
Those are the people.
Taika. Okay.
We're not gonna do this, bro. We're not gonna do this. We're not. I'm not gonna be. I'm not gonna be on this podcast defending like Taika's filmography.
Hey,
He made
Mike
a
is all
shitter
yours,
and he
man.
got paid. He made a shitter and he got paid. He himself would probably tell you he
Two
made a shitter.
shitters.
Yeah.
Two shitters.
What's the
So
second
you don't
shitter?
you don't like
Thor
Ragnarok?
Ragnarok?
What?
Bro, you're tripping. You're big tripping.
What?
But my point is those
That
are
movie sucks
those
ass.
are directors that are gonna be like in the damn history books for real. So,
Taika Waititi in a history book, bro.
Joe
Yeah, no,
Rabbit.
I do think that like
Jojo
kids
Rabbit.
in like
Jojo
30
Rabbit.
years are going to watch Jojo Rabbit and they're going to watch
And so-
Hunt for the Wilder People.
and so when the
those are
fucking-
gonna be like films that you watch. I'm
Great.
pretty
And
sure.
so when you look at that filmography, don't you have to
Yeah.
then look
Call
at
me in
Ragnarok?
10 years. Taika Waititi. Come on now.
It's definitely like I definitely don't agree with the take. I think that Guardians 3 was better. I think that but honestly, like that's the only movie that came to mind as far
Thank
as
you.
live
Thank
action superhero movies. So well, we had Infinity War and Endgame, which are not those movies are weird looking back because I don't think those are great movies, but they
You want to talk about a bad act?
we have
Endgame's
both
second act?
Black Panther movies though.
Panther.
right.
Yeah.
Black Panther 2 I think is well and this is getting a little
You're
no.
talking about Black Panther parentheses 2017 and Black Panther : Wakanda Forever parentheses 2020.
I think if you take Black Panther Wakanda Forever, maybe this is similar to how you guys framed Batman versus Superman, but I think if you take the first like 3/4 of Wakanda Forever, it's way better than Batman versus Superman. Well, no. I don't even agree with that. I think the last quarter of Wakanda Forever is not very good, and it kind of derails the ending of that movie that I think is
Need I remind you, we are talking about the movie where the last hour is just doo-doo on a screen, bro. What are we talking? Comparing it to the finale of Wakanda Forever, which is like 10 minutes of some stupid shit, and then one of the best duels in the MCU,
the fight's cool.
bro.
The fight's cool.
It's so fire. You're so hyped to see Shuri fight fucking Namor, bro. Like, that is like a moment. You are not for even a second. Actually, wait. I might be. Fuck. I was going to say there's not a second where you're actually hyped to see Batman and Superman fight. But there is like 10 minutes.
The
when
cut to
three
Batman
shit.
is
Yeah.
crazy.
There's a little bit there
You're
where
about
it's
to tell
cool.
me Shuri v. Namor is better than Batman versus Superman.
No, not that. But I'm saying
Okay.
versus the Trinity versus Doomsday is boring as fuck. And you compare
It's
that
so
to the
baller.
duel.
It has the coolest shot of Batman ever.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah,
bro.
the
With
Dark
the
Knight
light-
Returns
yeah.
homage is like
Dude,
crazy
like,
hard. Yeah.
come on now.
I don't quite agree with the take. I do like the third act. I think the Doomsday stuff, there's parts of it where like it looks like ass. It doesn't look like the rest of the movie. Like I think like I don't want to step on any later takes, but the movie looks very good. It's shot on film, multiple different kinds of film. And the Doomsday stuff looks like not great at the end of the movie when there's lasers going around everywhere and dust. It's not.
Are we saying
great.
that the third acts in the Black Panther movies look better?
That's all. See, okay,
but
so now we're
yeah,
comparing.
I'm just
Now
saying.
we're
We can't do
comparing.
you're
CGI
right,
versus
you're right.
CGI. We can't do
You're
bad CG versus bad CG, but we can do like a well-written script versus a not.
I mean, that's just subjective.
Even though the
You said
fight,
emotional.
even though the fight in the fucking subway at the end of Black Panther is really bad, once we're out on the cliff and Killmonger's dying, you're like, bro. And there's not a single moment that gives you an ounce of that in this film.
This is tough. You're actually making the rewatch was fantastic for me. I actually, again, a couple days ago, this would have been an instant like laugh out of the room situation, but I'm thinking about it, and it's not crazy. Like, I think, like, it's in the... like, it has a lot of the dumb stuff that I think that all of these movies have. We're kind of... I think the only true, like, all-time great film to come out of this era where we got 100 comic book movies, a year, basically, is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I think it's the only one, and
That's why I
think
said
that
live
a lot
action. I can get behind that.
I think that there's just a lot of movies or a lot of things about these movies that aren't great that kind of have like a common through line across a bunch of them, and I think that this movie is no stranger to crappy looking forced third act fight situation.
The more I think about this take, the more I feel like BvS movies blow BvS out of the water, and it is actually kind of hard to think of. There's very few good superhero movies post BvS.
I don't think it's the best superhero movie ever.
Yeah.
I don't think this holds a candle to any of like the Raimi movies. You know what I'm saying? But like like maybe some of the Guardians movies, maybe I like the Batman.
Yeah, because Guardians 1 is 2015. It's
Guardians 2 is 20.
two and three, like
2 and 3
two's
came
my
after,
favorite
yeah.
Guardians. So two's very close for me.
Yeah.
The Batman is also in there, which you mentioned, Veer.
Yeah.
And that movie also is another example of a movie that I love, but also has the same problems. Like, the third act of that movie is so weird and not good. Like there's 1,000 Riddlers, and it's like a eat the rich situation. Like, like what happened at the end of that movie, and it also doesn't look as good as the rest of the movie. It's like... It feels very COVID, like the end of that movie to me. All that to say, even a movie like that I think is great, that I do, kind of have time for, even that movie has the same issues. Really.
Okay, so we agree. Like, y'all don't agree, but I'm not too crazy for saying this.
It doesn't sound as crazy as it did. Yeah. Definitely.
Like, it's crazy to say, but when you kind of think about it, and you're like, yeah, like I agree. Like Black Panther, the Guardians, like those are some great movies, but just been nothing like this for me since.
So just first one, Ben Affleck is the GOAT, and I have to say, Henry Cavill is the woke, bro. This is the worst fucking Superman, and I'm not thinking about Man of Steel. I'm just thinking about this film. I haven't rewatched Man of Steel, so I'm not going to really be commenting on that. But in this film, this characterization of Superman is absolutely buns. It's just so uninteresting, uncompelling. And it's not just like script story choices. It's just his performance is this weird, like, I don't know if I want to be wooden or detached or caring. And he just cannot figure this shit out.
I'm not even the biggest Superman guy, right? So I probably can't give you like Christopher Reeves type of answer. Like I don't have much to compare to. I can tell you that I thought he was one note in this movie. But, well, wait. I kind of like him in this movie. I kind of like him.
Okay.
I think that there's interesting things.
Baby steps.
I think that... I think that his moral dilemma in this movie is interesting if you think about it. But I don't spend that much time thinking about it, and that's not enough for me.
Yeah.
I was talking to Veer about this in regards to Zack Snyder's directing. We were just like, imagine if Dave and imagine if they swapped the castings of these two, right? And Dave and Cornsweet was in this movie. his Juilliard ass would have just like Zack Snyder would have whipped his ass into shape in 2 seconds, bro. He would have been over there asking about his moment before, and Zack Snyder would have just been like, "Bro, shut the fuck up and
smolder on this balcony right now."
Yeah,
Okay. If you don't mute right now.
He's Aura Man, bro. He's Aura Man.
Stanley, you're kind of getting to a point there with that statement that I could agree to a certain extent that Henry Cavill as Superman is the problem here rather than the Superman itself. Because I think if you do swap Corin Sweat into this role, I think that guy can do more as an actor than Henry Cavill can. And I think if you threw Henry Cavill in the other movie falls apart. Because I don't think that Henry Cavill really has...
He's a good actor.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
I've not seen him. Where else is he fucking
I've
in?
never seen that.
He's in the worst movie ever.
I was gonna say in Max's favorite movie ever.
Yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
Argyle, right?
Yeah,
The Witcher.
that movie is.
He's in The Witcher, yeah.
He's in Black Adam.
He is.
Oh, he is.
He's in
is.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
He is as
Yeah.
fuck in
He
Black
is in
Oh, he
Deadpool
is in
and
Deadpool
Wolverine
and
as well.
Wolverine. Corny ass moment, bro.
Because you look at Ben Affleck's Batman and you're like, holy shit, this is awesome. This is the best interpretation of Batman ever. Ben Affleck is giving such a good performance. And a lot of that can be attributed to the fact that Ben Affleck is a great actor. But also, somebody's directing these movies. Additionally, you look at Henry Cavill's other work, Gal Gadot's other work, and you're like, there's not that much here.
But like all the good actors in this film are doing a good job. But I think it's what like they're bringing to it. And it doesn't really feel anybody who could use a little bit of coaching and directing to get out of it, it's not coming. Like random bit players, little people who have 1 or 2 lines, those are funky. Actors that aren't that good, just like they just don't really land right. It just feels like nobody has really given that actor an idea of what they need to be doing in this scene. But Ben Affleck is so good and so in tune with Batman that it doesn't matter that he's not getting that directed. You know what I mean? Or I didn't make this a take, but I do think the best performance in the film and the one that's always good, like literally never bad, is Lawrence Fishburne's as fucking.
I'm
Paris.
so
It's the
glad
only-
you mentioned that.
It's literally the only one that's like
we
you're
talking
always
about
like
bad
hell
performances?
yeah, bro.
Superman is dumb as hell, bro. Superman is just so stupid. And the third act of this movie doesn't really need to happen. That's how stupid I believe he is. Him and Batman don't need to fight. Why would he not?
Wait, does he have freeze breath in this world?
Probably.
Not that he
Doesn't
I don't
it
know if
any-
he's ever used
they
it.
never
Just hit a
show him-
little.
Oh,
Hold up.
no, he
No,
does.
he doesn't
He
in
does.
Snyder
He uses it in Man of
He
Steel,
does.
but he doesn't use it in this movie, right?
He doesn't use. I don't know if he uses it in Man of Steel. He uses it in Justice League in like
Okay.
a very key moment, the Snyder cut of
Okay,
it.
okay.
Bro.
So all he has to do is just go, yo, Batfleck, hold up.
Hold up. Here's the situation. Bro just told me
Yeah.
he's got my mom.
Yeah.
Now, we can figure this shit out or like, well, let's do what we gotta do.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. You're probably saying, Batfleck hates Superman already.
right,
Why
right.
would he listen to him? Let's say he doesn't. Kill the motherfucker anyway. But he could have. You're fucking Superman. You couldn't
Yeah.
just like think for a second and just ask.
Yeah.
It's like if you walk into a restaurant and you fucking flip the table on its head because you're like the meal was gonna be ass. Well, you could have tried
He was trying though.
beating
He's
the shit out of him.
Superman, bro. He could have tried. I hate to be a CinemaSins kind of guy, but sometimes the plot is just so like sometimes you got it. Like I don't like to point out plot holes, but you can't have me questioning why things are happening. Things have to be consequential, and I don't feel that with Superman like at all. Like he just does whatever the movie needs him to do, you know.
I disagree strongly on this take.
As someone who likes this movie, I have always agreed with this take in a way. I think that this interpretation of Superman is designed to be a little bit weird. It's not a normal Superman. Because this Superman is discovering his humanity still. It's not really the full-fledged Superman yet. In Justice League, he kind of achieves that in the Snyder cut of it, and also in the fucking shitty cut of it. He does as well. But I think that Superman is supposed to be a little bit wooden, a little bit inhuman, if you
Disconnected.
will. Disconnected. I think that that's
Alien, if you will.
It's definitely, yeah, it's definitely there, and I think it's supposed to be there because of those reasons. And throughout the movie, he does discover why he cares about humanity, why he, gives a shit about saving people in general. And a lot of that has to do with Lois Lane and his mother and the people he loves, he realizes. And I think that's what the movie is kind of ultimately about. When he goes to fight Batman here, he is probably under more duress than he's ever been before. Like, his mother has been taken hostage by this fucking weirdo, and he has to go talk to this other weirdo and convince him to help him save his mother. And so he goes there, and he doesn't exactly know how to talk to this person, because he doesn't know how to talk to anybody. And now he is faced with, again, this fucking weirdo in a bat tank costume saying, "Here I am, I'm ready." My whole life has been leading up to this moment where I can punch the shit out of you. And he's like, "Bruce, you have to listen to me." And he's not exactly communicating in a way where he could, he should be saying, "Bruce
Save
Wayne,
Martha.
I need your help." He needs to be a little bit more emotive. He needs to be, "Hey, my mom," he needs to be scared. He needs to show fear. He's got my mom. And then Batman probably says, you get to the same result maybe. But then we have no fight and there's no movie. That's the core aspect of this. I think that it's a minor, it could be a major gripe, but I think that it's something that it makes sense for the character, but it feels stupid.
And you could argue this about like most big movies in general, but especially comic book movies. One I like to think of that people don't talk about: Infinity War. There's like 8 different ways they could have killed Thanos. Literally earlier in the movie, Wong opens a portal on someone's hand and chops it off. Why didn't Doctor Strange do that like immediately? Why didn't Iron Man just shoot Star-Lord in the face when he was beating on Thanos?
I think Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor was ahead of its time and is one of the great comic book movie villains.
I think this might be the only unanimous one. I like it.
Okay, so
I'm cool
People
with it. I don't think
hated
it's
this shit when this movie
yeah.
came out.
I don't think it's a bad performance. Again, I can speak for me and Stan at least. Like, we're not the most to be like, you weren't loyal to issue number 1072. Like, I don't give a shit. If it serves the film, it's all about you're making a movie, you're interpreting, you're adapting. So I'm not mad that like, oh, this is the Riddler or this is Joker. This isn't Lex. I don't care about that. But I do just feel like and again, I think a lot of this stuff just comes from the fact that I didn't feel particularly drawn by like end of second act, end of third act of this film. So once he's finally winning and making shit happen, I'm less invested in who he is. So I don't know if I would say he's one of the great comic book movie villains, but I definitely do think he's ahead of his time. I think he's pretty great. And compared to someone like, I don't know, fucking, what was the guy's name in Doctor Strange? Caecilius? Compared to Caecilius,
what is Caecilius shout out on this podcast?
This is a perfect villain, Compared to one of those guys,
yeah.
Compared to a boring MCU villain, compared to one of those guys, he's great.
It's something that I think, it's one of those things that gets better once you know what happens in Justice League.
For a lot of people who pretend to read comic books, now that you got like Nicholas Holtz, he's bald and he's angry and he's whatever. He's really good. I really like him in that movie, but I think it's easier for a lot of people to appreciate. But yeah, I think it's so good for the time, and yeah, now like these tech billionaires that I don't know, people have never liked people like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, but like 10 years ago, they weren't like as cartoonishly evil and sporadic as they are now.
I don't think we had as much exposure to those kinds of people that we do now, and we kind of understand that kind of person kinda acts that way, more or less.
The god complex of these guys is very well captured in this performance.
Yes.
Maybe even more than he got to do as Mark Zuckerberg, because for half of The Social Network, he has to be this like timid, half-human, weird guy, and he only really can get cocky in the last like 20-30 minutes of that film. From jump, he is, I mean, I'll say it, he's cool as fuck in a way. The fact that he just does whatever the fuck he wants, he's such a rogue.
Yeah.
In some ways, and again, I don't know I genuinely don't know what the right answer is. I don't know what you're supposed to think, but because of how weird this interpretation of Superman is, I wanted Batman to kill him. I wanted Lex to win. Like, I'm never rooting for Superman in this movie. And part of that
I do not think that that's what.
No, that's not what he wanted. But that's how I feel, bro. That motherfucker's so boring. How you gonna make me root for the boring loser guy? So I'm rooting for Lex, and I'm rooting for Jesse Eisenberg. Shout out, like a real pain. Shout out to like a real movie that was made by like a person.
The death of Superman was not done too early. One of the biggest complaints with this movie back then, and people still say now, is why was you the death of Superman in the second movie? What's going on here? You need like 10 more movies before you do that. I don't think that's true at all. Superman, has existed for like 100 years. Death of Superman is one of the biggest comic book stories of all time. This is a story, it's bigger than Civil War. It's bigger than any other Superman story. I think he was totally fine doing in the second movie. Like, yeah, this is a new interpretation of Superman, but it's still Superman. You know what I mean? And you can do, like, Death of Superman the same way. This is the first time we saw Batman, and they're doing The Dark Knight Returns, which is a story that typically, it's way late into Batman's career.
I, for one, hate when people get all uppity comic book nerd about stuff. I hate when people get all uppity book nerd about stuff. I just hate when people do that, because it's like, dude, all right, go read.
Just read it, yeah. Just read it. I mean, honestly, I'm a huge comic book guy. I like comics more than I like these comic book movies. Like, no movie has ever really like perfectly adapted a kind of comic thing, because comics are fucked and they don't make sense. And yeah, Superman from 100 years ago is not the same Superman that might be in the main like DC now. Like Death of Superman, that was kind of in the main run, but that was also like, it's an isolated story you can read on its own. Like, if you were to read it now, you wouldn't read 20 years of comic books before you get to it. You know who Superman is. You know he's from, like, you know what you need to know about Superman.
I didn't read like that many comic books growing up, but I did read Death of Superman as a kid. Like, I remember reading it. I remember the cover is just it's such a good cover. Like, I just look at that shit like, wow, bro. I don't disagree that, like, for the thematic statement of this film, him sacrificing himself works, even though I think the themes of the film are dumb. Like, I do think it executes what it wants to do correctly. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think this is a bad ending for the movie. But I do think that I need some sort of emotional connection to this character to feel his death in any meaningful way. And not just through, like, the other people who cry for him. I feel like I need to weep for him. Like, that's like the point, you know what I mean? And because of the Wooden choice, because of the characterization of this Superman, when he dies, like I said, I was never rooting for him in this movie. So when he died, I was like, all right, bro.
I think that's where you can say that they did do it too early, because I think I agree with Norman's take in terms of the story of it all. And, you look at Man of Steel to especially when you consider that the Snyder Cut of Justice League is all about having faith that things are gonna, sort themselves out. I think that through line makes a lot of sense and is really, really great when you see the whole picture, in my opinion. But to Veer's point, he is just very wooden by nature, and you don't really spend that much time with him, really. I mean, half of this movie is dedicated to Batman, so you got 1.5 movies that don't really show him being a, traditional human, nice person that we can get behind. He's more of a force of nature. I think that's how Zack Snyder views him as well, but that's kind of hard to relate to as a character. So, in that respect, I think it was done too early. Story-wise, I think he can do it. I think he does ultimately make it work when you see the 3 movies. So I guess I do agree. But I definitely understand the disagree take.
I understand too.